Welcome to the Introduction to Web Development course. This course teaches you how to build responsive, interactive websites using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You'll also dive into version control with Git and advanced techniques and discover how tools like Microsoft Copilot can enhance your development workflow and collaboration. We will begin with the basics of HTML, focusing on its structure and essential elements, forming every web page's foundation. We'll explore how HTML interacts with CSS and JavaScript, discuss the importance of semantic HTML for accessibility, and guide you through creating your first simple web page. Next, we will explore the syntax and principles of CSS, emphasizing its role in creative responsive designs and enhancing web accessibility. We'll also dive into advanced CSS techniques for complex styling and layouts, equipping you to build web pages that adapt seamlessly across different devices. Then we will focus on JavaScript, the core language behind interactive web experiences. JavaScript allows developers to bring websites to life by manipulating page elements, responding to user actions, and managing data. From learning its syntax to mastering asynchronous programming and data handling, you'll see how essential JavaScript is for building dynamic, engaging web applications. Next, we will explore the power of version control using Git and GitHub. Version control helps developers manage and track changes in their code, ensuring nothing is lost and making collaboration seamless. As we dive into Git commands, integration with development tools, and advanced techniques, you'll see how this skill is essential for any developer aiming to work efficiently in a team setting. Finally, we will learn how Microsoft Copilot can be leveraged for web development projects, including HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We will demonstrate how Copilot assists with coding and optimization, using it to complete a small web development project and showcasing the practical application of your newly acquired skills. Throughout this course, you will develop foundational skills in web development, focusing on the core technologies of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We're excited to guide you as you build the groundwork for your web development journey. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Dr. Sharon Jumper, and I'm excited to be your instructor for this course. My journey into front-end development began when I was a teenager, experimenting with code for fun. I would write simple scripts on computers in big box stores that turned their displays into silly little interactive experiences. After high school, I spent 4 years in the U.S. Army as a signals intelligence analyst, where I deepened my understanding of how computers facilitate global communication. These early experiences shaped my career and fueled my passion for learning. As a lifelong learner, I've adapted my skills to the rapidly changing landscape of technology, applying front-end development principles in my roles as a lawyer, professor, enterprise learning architect, cybersecurity consultant, and entrepreneur. Whether building prototypes or launching full-fledged platforms, the ability to create dynamic, user-friendly interfaces is invaluable in today's digital-first economy. Today, we will explore the core aspects of front-end development, creating engaging, responsive, and accessible web pages that captivate and communicate effectively with users, as well as applications that make their lives and businesses more productive. From designing visually appealing layouts to adding interactivity, you'll gain the skills to craft modern web experiences. Whether you're planning to enhance a personal project, scale a business, or simply learn a new skill, front-end development opens a world of opportunities. And with technologies like Microsoft Copilot assisting you, you'll find the development process smoother and more intuitive. I'm excited to guide you through this journey of learning and discovery. Let's get started.
The learning experience in this course is designed to give you a comprehensive understanding of key concepts through various learning methods. You'll be guided through interactive, engaging materials that help you build practical and theoretical knowledge. Whether you're interested in front-end, back-end, or full-stack development, this program has the tools to support your growth every step of the way. Throughout the course, you'll be introduced to core concepts and key ideas in videos. These videos are designed to help you understand definitions, processes, and essential steps clearly and concisely. You'll get to absorb foundational knowledge, setting the stage for deeper exploration as you move forward. And when you need step-by-step guidance, screencasts will provide you with a detailed practical view. These screencasts will show you exactly what's on the screen and how to work through specific coding tasks. The course also includes readings that reinforce the key ideas presented in the videos. These readings are more than just supplementary material, they're job aids. You can print them out and use them as a reference while working on assignments or activities, helping to apply what you've learned in real-world situations more easily. Small activities are included to help you check your understanding of key ideas. These activities provide quick, interactive opportunities to practice what you've just learned. After completing each activity, you can compare your work with a fully explained example and answer key. This ensures that you always know if your answer is correct. Practical experience doing tasks you would in a job within this field is essential, and that's where guided labs come in. These labs take you through the implementation of different concepts step by step. As you work, you'll receive feedback and helpful hints, ensuring you can get the help you need when you need it. It's the perfect opportunity to practice in a controlled environment while learning by doing. After completing the guided labs, you'll move on to independent projects, or you try it. This is where you'll put your skills to the test, applying what you've learned in the labs. You'll work through real-world problems, cementing your understanding of the course material. The course will culminate in a practical project leveraging Microsoft Copilot that you can use as a portfolio artifact when you begin your job search in this field. As you progress through the program, the portfolio pieces will become stronger and better representations of the authentic experience you've gained. They'll showcase your understanding of code and the ability to implement different concepts from the developer program. This course guides you step by step from understanding concepts through videos and readings to apply them in activities, screencasts, and labs. Each part of the course builds on the last, helping you gain knowledge and authentic experience. By the end, you'll have completed real projects that not only showcase your skills, but can also be included in your portfolio as you start your career. Everything you do here will prepare you for success as a developer. Let's get started.
Throughout this course, you'll complete several guided labs. These labs are meant to give you an opportunity to practice your newly learned skills in an environment where you can get help and feedback as you complete coding challenges. This video will describe how to complete the guided labs in this course. We will explore a guided lab together so that you'll know what to expect when you come to one later in the course. First, let's check the content leading up to a guided lab. This structured content ensures that you have exactly the skills you need to complete the task. In this instance, there is a practical application video that describes in detail how this concept is used in real-world situations. Following this practical application video, you can review a reading that explains the concept in detail so you can go through this content at your own pace. Next, you'll find a video that works through the guided lab itself. This video won't give you all the answers to the guided lab, but it will provide an overview of the upcoming questions and challenges. Lastly, we come to the guided lab itself. The guided lab is a simulated code environment where you can experiment with code and receive hints and feedback in a realistic coding situation. To start, I'll click Start. In this lab, step 1 is an introduction to if-else statements, so I'll click Begin. Below the simulated code environment, I can find the specific instructions for this lab. Declare the variable age as type int. Place your cursor into line 2, type your answer, and select Enter to check your work. Alright, I think I know this one. I'm going to type in INT and hit Enter. Great, I got that correct, and I got a bit of feedback about my correct answer. To move on, I click Continue. And these instructions say, prompt the user to enter their age, place your cursor into line 4, type your answer, and select Enter to check your work. This one is a little trickier. Let me try type your age. Got it. This feedback for my wrong answer points me in the right direction. Let's try that again. I'm going to erase what I had here and then enter your age. Perfect. I'll click Continue. Let's try one more. Convert the input to an integer using int.parse and store it in the age variable. Place your cursor into line 6, type your answer, and select Enter to check your work. I'm not totally sure here, so I'm going to click on Hint and get some help. And the hint says use console.readline, and then an open and close parentheses, display a message asking their user for their age. Great, that helps. I'm going to click Continue and type in console.readline. And I've got it. That's how you work through a guided lab. Some questions will require more complex code to complete, so make sure you're using the hint function when you need it and reviewing the feedback provided for your right and wrong answers. Have fun completing these coding challenges that put your new skills to work.
In today's rapidly evolving tech landscape, artificial intelligence plays a key role in making development more efficient and intelligent. That's where Microsoft Copilot comes in. Microsoft Copilot is a powerful AI-driven tool that can assist developers in writing, optimizing, and debugging code. In this course, you'll leverage Copilot as a thought partner and a code-generating assistant, helping you solve problems, generate code snippets, and enhance your projects. The goal is to provide you with hands-on experience using a tool that real-world developers use to improve their workflow. In the last module of this course, you'll engage in videos, screencasts, guided labs, and independent projects that integrate Copilot. These labs will take you through how to use specific prompts to generate code, optimize solutions, and solve problems. You'll be shown step-by-step how to leverage Copilot's capabilities to strategically approach the final project. During the guided labs, you'll get hands-on experience working with Copilot. These labs are structured to show you how to craft effective prompts and work with Copilot's code generation features. You'll use it to assist in writing code, refining your solutions, and debugging. This practice will prepare you for the independent work you'll do in the final project. After the videos, screencasts, or guided labs, you'll move on to independent activities where you'll take control. Here you'll use Copilot to assist with various aspects of the project. You'll be making strategic decisions, but Copilot will support you by generating code, suggesting optimizations, and helping you troubleshoot. This prepares you to work more independently while still having the power of AI to assist. The final project will combine everything you've learned in the course, and you'll have Copilot as a key tool in your development toolkit. You'll use Copilot to help you generate and refine code as you combine the concepts from earlier lessons. The project is a portfolio-ready artifact showcasing your coding skills and your ability to leverage AI in modern development workflows. To succeed in the final module, actively engage with the guided labs and practice using Microsoft Copilot effectively. The videos and prompts will take you through Copilot and equip you to apply it strategically and independently. By the end of the course, you'll be fully prepared to complete the final project and demonstrate your skills using traditional coding and AI-assisted workflows. Welcome to the course. In this video, we will discuss how you can make the most of each part of the course to set yourself up for success. Whether you watch the videos, complete activities, or work through hands-on labs, Each element has been designed to help you master the skills you need to become a confident and capable developer. The first step in every lesson is the videos. You'll be introduced to new concepts, definitions, and key ideas. Watch these carefully and take notes on the important points. The videos provide the foundational knowledge you'll need to build on, so don't skip them. They'll give you the context to understand everything that comes next. After each video, complete the readings. These readings reinforce the key ideas you've just learned and can serve as job aids. I recommend printing out the readings or saving them for quick reference. They'll be extremely helpful when completing activities, working on projects, or just needing a refresher. They're not just supplementary. They help you apply what you've learned to real-world tasks. Throughout the course, you'll find small but impactful activities. These quick exercises allow you to check your understanding of key ideas. Don't rush through them. Take the time to work through these activities thoughtfully. After each, compare answers with the answer key to check how well you understand the material. This is your chance to practice without pressure. At the end of each lesson, you'll encounter practice quizzes. These quizzes are a great way to ensure you fully grasp the concepts from the videos and the readings. Use these as a checkpoint to assess how well you retain the information. If you find yourself struggling, review the videos and readings again. The goal is to build confidence and solidify your understanding before moving forward. When you need to see the material in action, screencasts guide you. These videos show you exactly how to work through certain tasks step by step. If you ever feel stuck or unsure about applying a concept, watch the screencasts and follow along. This hands-on guidance is invaluable for understanding how the code works in real time and applying what you've learned. At the end of each module, there will be graded quizzes. These are an important part of your success as they allow you to demonstrate mastery of the material. These quizzes build on the practice quizzes, and they're a great way to ensure you're ready to move on to more advanced concepts. Treat these quizzes as milestones. Passing them means you're fully prepared for the next challenge. The guided labs are where you'll take the concepts from the lessons and apply them in a controlled, hands-on environment. These labs will take you step by step through tasks, including helpful feedback and hints. The more effort you put into the labs, the more you'll get out of them. It's all about learning by doing, so take your time and ensure you understand each step before moving on. After you've completed the guided labs, it's time to test your skills with independent projects or U-try-its. This is where you'll apply everything you've learned without step-by-step instructions. These projects are a great way to gauge how far you've come and to put your knowledge to the test. Don't worry if you feel challenged, that's part of the learning process. By completing these projects, you'll reinforce your skills and build confidence. Finally, at the end of the course, you'll complete a culminating hands-on project that you can use as a portfolio artifact. This project will showcase the skills you've gained throughout the course and give you something tangible to present to potential employers. As you progress through the program, these portfolio pieces will become stronger representations of your hands-on experience and understanding of key concepts. Success in this course comes down to using all the tools available. Watch the videos carefully, engage with the readings, complete the activities and quizzes thoughtfully, and take full advantage of the screencasts, labs, and projects. Each element of this course is designed to help you master the material step by step. By the end, you'll have a solid understanding of the concepts and real projects to prove your skills. Remember to persist, take your time, and you'll be ready for a successful career in development.
Are you ready to create something amazing? By the end of this project, you'll have your very own personal portfolio website, a place to showcase your skills, creativity, and all the hard work you've put into learning web development. Whether you're hoping to impress potential employers, build your online presence, or just create something you're proud of, this project is your chance to shine. And don't worry, you won't be doing this alone. Microsoft Copilot will be your sidekick, helping you write, enhance, and debug your code every step of the way. In this video, we will introduce the end-of-course project. By the end of this project, you'll have developed a fully functional website that showcases your skills, projects, and contact information. You'll use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and Microsoft Copilot will be your assistant along the way. Whether you're new to web development or have some experience, this project is designed to be approachable and help you build essential skills. Let's review the details. The goal of this project is to create a personal portfolio website, which will include the following sections. First, you will have the home page. This is where visitors will land and learn about you. Next comes the About Me section. This section will describe who you are, your background, and what you bring to the table. Then comes the Project Gallery. Here, you'll showcase your best work. Next up is the Skills List. This will highlight your technical and creative skills. The website development project will conclude with building a contact form. This form will allow others to contact you easily. Throughout the project, you'll be using Microsoft Copilot to help you with writing, enhancing, and debugging your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code. Copilot will assist you in generating HTML for your site's structure, styling with CSS to make your website visually appealing and more responsive, adding JavaScript for interactivity, such as validating forms or adding dynamic content. You'll work incrementally through a series of activities, each aligned with the lessons we've provided in this course. This way, you'll learn by doing, with Copilot offering real-time suggestions and improvements. This project is broken down into 6 manageable milestones to ensure that you stay on track. The first milestone for this project is to set up your development environment by installing and configuring Microsoft Copilot in your IDE. The second milestone is to create the HTML structure for your website using Copilot to generate the necessary code. In the third milestone, you will use Copilot to create code that will style your portfolio using CSS, making sure it's responsive and visually appealing. In the fourth milestone, you will use Copilot to add interactivity with JavaScript, such as form validation and dynamic content displays. For the fifth milestone, you will integrate all components, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and test the site for functionality and usability. Finally, in milestone 6, you'll conduct a peer review to gather feedback and make final revisions. Don't worry if you're new to web development or Copilot. We'll guide you step by step through each activity, and Copilot will provide helpful suggestions along the way. Follow the detailed instructions in each activity. We also encourage you to ask questions, collaborate with peers, and explore new ideas as you progress through the project. In our next lesson, we'll start with milestone 1, where you will learn how to install and configure it in your chosen IDE so you can begin coding. This is a chance to tap into your creativity. Good luck, and let's get started. Welcome to HTML for Web Development. This foundational module not only introduces you to the core language of the web, but also sets the stage for advanced front-end techniques covered later in our program. You'll learn how HTML integrates with CSS and JavaScript to craft interactive, well-structured websites. By mastering semantic HTML, you'll enhance web accessibility and SEO, equipping yourself with crucial skills to build and optimize web pages effectively. We will begin by defining the basic structure and elements of HTML, which will set the foundation for all web development tasks. Next, we will explore how HTML serves as the backbone of the web, interacting seamlessly with CSS and JavaScript to create dynamic and responsive websites. Then, we will delve into the importance of semantic HTML and how it enhances web accessibility and search engine visibility, ensuring your content reaches a broader audience. Following that, we will guide you through creating your first HTML document, where you will apply your understanding of HTML tags and attributes to create a web page's structure. Finally, You will combine all the pieces from this module to construct a complete web page using HTML. By the end of this module, you'll master the essentials of HTML to create accessible and dynamic web pages. Equipped with a deep understanding of HTML's integration with CSS and JavaScript, you'll be ready to advance your front-end skills in upcoming modules. Let's examine HTML for web development and start building the web one line of code at a time. Every web page you visit, from news sites to online stores, is built using HTML. This fundamental language shapes the structure of content, making it readable and organized on the web. HTML is the first step in creating a successful online presence. In this video, we will explain the fundamental components of HTML, focusing on elements and tags. HTML, or Hypertext Markup Language, is the standard language used to create web pages. Think of HTML as the skeleton of your web page, giving it structure and organization. Every web page starts with a basic HTML document that includes tags to define its elements. Now, a tag is a special code enclosed in angle brackets used to mark the start and end of HTML elements and tell the browser how to display content. Tags come in pairs: an opening tag, like open bracket h1, close bracket, and a closing tag, like open bracket /h1, close bracket. Some elements use self-closing tags, like open bracket br / close bracket, which don't need a separate closing tag. An HTML element is made up of a start tag, content, and an end tag. Elements define the structure and content of a web page, such as headings, paragraphs, and sections. Let's explore some common HTML elements. The h1 element is used for headings. It includes a start tag, h1, content, the heading text, and the end tag, which is /h1. This makes the bold and large stand out. For example, GrooveEco's homepage uses h1 for the main title to make it clear and prominent. The p element is used for paragraphs. It includes a start tag of p, content, the paragraph text, and an end tag, which is /p. This groups sentences into readable blocks of text. The div element is used for creating divisions or sections on a web page. It includes a start tag, div, any content inside it, and an end tag, /div. This helps organize different parts of the content. An interesting fact is that some HTML elements don't require an end tag. These are called self-closing tags. Self-closing tags is a type of HTML tag that doesn't need an end tag. It is used for elements that do not contain any content. For example, the br / tag is used to insert a line break and doesn't need a separate closing tag. Now that we understand the different types of tags, let's see how they fit together to form the structure of an HTML document. The basic structure of an HTML document includes the doc-type HTML declaration and the main doc-type HTML head and body elements. Inside these, various elements and tags work together to form the content of the web page. Let's take a look at the basic structure of an HTML document. Understanding the basic structure of an HTML document is essential for creating web pages. Here is a simple template. The doc-type HTML declaration defines the document type as a version of HTML. It tells the browser that this is an HTML5 document. The HTML element is the root element of the page, containing all other elements. The head section contains the metadata, like the title, link to style sheets, or scripts. It doesn't display content on the page. The title element defines the title of the web page, shown in the Browser tab. The body element contains all the content that's displayed on the web page, such as text, images, and links. Knowing how to use HTML elements and tags is essential for building web pages. These basics are the foundation for all web content. Happy coding!
Imagine having the ability to control every detail of your website's elements, everything from how they appear to how they behave. By understanding HTML attributes, you'll gain this control, making your web pages more dynamic and interactive. In this video, we will describe how attributes provide additional information about HTML elements. HTML attributes let you fine-tune how elements behave and appear, adding functionality and interactivity to your website. Now that we understand what attributes are, let's explore how to properly structure them in your HTML code. Attributes are written as a name-value pair, such as name equals value, and placed inside the opening tag like this: tag name, space, attribute equals value. In this example, attribute is the name of the attribute you want to define. The value of the attribute provides specific information or behavior. With this basic syntax covered, let's explore some of the most common attributes you'll use to enhance your HTML elements. First is the class attribute, which you'll use to group multiple HTML elements together by assigning them the same class name. This lets you apply the same CSS styles to all elements with that class, making it easier to manage and style your website. For example, you can have two paragraph tags that have the same class attribute. Both elements would have the same styles applied to them. Next, let's examine the ID attribute. This attribute is used to give individual elements a unique identity on your page, allowing for specific styling or functionality. This identifier must be unique on a page, allowing you to apply specific styles or JavaScript functions to that one element only. Now let's explore the href attribute. Used in A tags, this attribute sets the destination URL for a hyperlink, guiding users to the right location with just a click. This attribute tells the browser where to go when the link is clicked, whether it's another page on your site or an external website. Lastly, the source attribute defines the file path for an image or script you want to include on your web page. It's used in tags like image for images and script for JavaScript files, telling the browser where to find the file. For example, in an image element, you can use source attributes to link to an image stored on a web server. The browser will get the image from the server and display it on the web page. Now that we've discussed some of the common attributes, let's explore how you can include them in your HTML elements. The syntax for including attributes in HTML tags is straightforward. An attribute is added with the opening tag and consists of the name and the value pair, separated by an equal sign and enclosed in quotes. Here's the general format: element, attribute equals, quote, value, end quote. Let's examine some of the examples of commonly used attributes. In this example, we create a div element with an ID attribute set to header. Within this div, the text, "this is the header," is placed, and finally the div tag is closed. The attribute class assigns one or more class names to an element, which can be used for styling or scripting. In this example in the HTML code, we have a paragraph element with the class attribute set to intro highlight. The text within this paragraph is "welcome to this website." The paragraph is then closed with a closing p tag. The style attribute allows you to apply CSS directly within an HTML tag, often used for quick, specific styling. While it's powerful for adding individual styles, it's generally better to keep your CSS in separate files to maintain cleaner code. In this example, you begin with a span tag, which is used for inline elements. We'll add a style attribute to it with the CSS properties color: red and font weight: bold. In this span, include the text important text. Finally, we close the span tag. The attribute href specifies the URL of the page the link will go to. In this HTML code, we create a hyperlink using the a tag. The href attribute is set to www.example.com, and the clickable text within the link is visit example. The tag is then closed. The attribute target specifies where to open the linked document. For example, here you would start with an a tag, which represents a hyperlink. Set the href attribute to www.example.com, then add a target attribute with the value _blank. This makes the link open in a new tab. Inside this tag, include the text open in a new tab. Finally, close the tag. The attribute source specifies the path to the image. In this HTML code, we have an image tag to display an image. The source attribute points to the image.jpg, and the alt attribute is set to a descriptive image, which serves as the alternate text for screen readers or if the image fails to load. This tag is self-closing. HTML attributes make your web page powerful and have a greater impact. They help you add more functionality and interactivity to your web page. In this video, we've walked through what attributes are, some of the most common ones, and how to use them in your tags. Now that you know how they work, you're ready to create some really dynamic and engaging web content.
Picture walking into a library where every book is sorted into sections like fiction, nonfiction, and reference. These sections are organized on shelves, making it easy for you to find the book you need. Similarly, an HTML document uses tags like HTML, head, and body to structure its content, much like how a library's organization helps you find books. In this video, we will describe the hierarchical structure of HTML documents and its importance in web development. HTML document structure is the basic layout of an HTML document, including doc type, head, and body sections. The 5 main tags that form this structure are doc type HTML, HTML, head, title, and body. Let's examine each of these types of tags. The doc type HTML tag defines the document type and version of HTML being used, much like a sign at the library entrance tells visitors what kind of library it is. It tells the browser to expect HTML5, the latest version. The HTML tag is the root element that wraps all other HTML content and signifies the beginning and end of an HTML document. It's like the walls of a library that contain everything inside. For instance, every web page, like WebWave's homepage, starts with the HTML tag. The head section holds important information about the web page that isn't shown directly on the screen, like the page's title. Think of it like the information desk at a library, helping organize everything behind the scenes. The head section helps browsers and search engines understand the page better. The title tag, which is inside the head section, sets the title of the page that appears in the browser tab. It's like the name of a library displayed on a sign outside. The body section contains all the visible content of the web page, like text, images, and videos. This is like the main area of a library where the books and resources are kept. For example, everything you see on a website is placed inside the body tag. Another way to make an HTML page more meaningful is by using semantic HTML. Semantic HTML uses special tags that describe what their content is about, making it easier for people and computers to understand the structure and purpose of the web page. This is like using clear labels on library shelves to help people find the books they want quickly. There are several common types of semantic HTML tags, each with a specific purpose. Let's look at some of them. The nav tag represents a section of navigation links similar to a directory or a map in a library that shows you where different sections are located. The main tag indicates the main content of the document, like the central area of the library where the main collection of books is found. It should contain the unique content of the page. The article tag is used for a self-contained piece of content, such as a news story or a blog post. It's like an individual book or magazine in a library. The section tag groups related content together, similar to a specific shelf or section in a library dedicated to a particular subject. The footer tag is used for the bottom part of the web page, which often contains information like copyright details or contact information. It's like the reference or help desk area of a library, providing additional resources. Now, let's look at how to build a more complex HTML structure. One common method is called nesting. Nesting places elements within other elements, creating a clear and organized structure in the HTML document. It's like putting books on specific shelves in a library, so everything is easy to find. Nesting is important for several reasons. First, it creates clear and organized documents or web pages by defining how different parts of the content are related. Secondly, nesting makes it easier to style specific parts of a web page. Third, proper nesting helps with accessibility for tools like screen readers. It helps the screen reader understand the content, making sure the site is easier for everyone to use. Just like organized shelves in a library, well-nested HTML elements keep everything in the right place. Understanding HTML structure, nesting, and semantic elements help you create organized and user-friendly websites. Mastering these basics makes your content clear and accessible. Happy coding! When you think of a website, it's like a building. HTML creates the framework, but web standards act like building codes, ensuring that the structure is safe, consistent, and accessible across all devices. Once the structure is set, CSS and JavaScript bring it to life with style and interactivity. In this video, we will describe how HTML functions as the structural foundation for web pages. Web standards are the rules and guidelines that help us build websites correctly. They ensure that the site's structure works across all devices, browsers, and for all users, just like building codes keep structures safe and functional in the real world. Let's explore a few key web standards. First, there is responsive design, which means creating websites that adjust to different screen sizes, from large desktops to small mobile phones. This is important because users access websites from a variety of devices, and a website needs to look and function properly on all of them. Next, we have accessibility, which ensures that a website can be used by everyone, including people with disabilities, so that no one is excluded from the site. Then, cross-browser compatibility ensures that a website performs consistently across different web browsers like Chrome, Firefox, or Safari. Cross-browser compatibility is a high priority for web content because users rely on different browsers, and the website needs to provide a consistent experience no matter what they use. Finally, performance optimization focuses on improving the speed and efficiency of a website, since faster websites offer a better user experience and result in more visitors. Now that we've seen how web standards ensure a strong and accessible structure, let's move on to CSS, which is responsible for the style and visual design of the website. CSS ensures that the structure looks good and adapts visually to different devices. CSS, or cascading style sheets, is a language used to control the visual presentation of a website. CSS allows you to style HTML elements, controlling things like layout, colors, fonts, and spacing. Let's review a few ways CSS can style elements. First, CSS controls the design of a web page, meaning it determines how elements like headers, footers, and sidebars are arranged. Layout plays a key role in how users navigate and interact with the content. Second, CSS controls the colors used on a website, including background colors, text colors, and link colors. Using the right colors can reinforce branding and make a website visually appealing. Third, CSS allows you to control the fonts used on a website, including font type, size, and style. Fonts directly affect readability and can help set the tone of the website. Fourth, CSS can control the spacing between elements, such as distance between paragraphs, images, and buttons. Proper spacing improves readability and gives the page a clean, organized look. CSS media queries apply different styles to a website depending on the size of the screen. This ensures the layout remains user-friendly on any device, making the website accessible on both mobile devices and desktops. While CSS ensures that the website is visually appealing and responsive, JavaScript adds functionality and interactivity. JavaScript allows the website to respond to user actions and dynamically update content, making the structure more engaging and interactive. JavaScript is a programming language used to make websites interactive and dynamic. It enables websites to respond to user actions, update content without reloading the page, and interact with users in real time. Now let's explore some of the ways JavaScript makes web content interactive. One way JavaScript brings interactivity to web content is form validation. This checks whether a form is filled out correctly before it's submitted, which helps users avoid mistakes and ensures that the data submitted through websites is accurate. JavaScript event listeners respond to user actions like clicks or keystrokes. This allows the website to react to the user in real time and provides a more engaging experience. JavaScript enables dynamic content updates, which allow parts of a web page to refresh without reloading the entire page. This provides a smoother user experience and makes the site feel more responsive. By combining CSS and JavaScript with the structured foundation of HTML, developers can create websites that are responsive, interactive, and visually appealing across all devices. Happy coding! Have you ever wondered how to make your web pages not only functional, but also visually engaging? When building a website, the challenge often lies in transforming a simple, bare-bones structure into something that truly stands out. Imagine you're building a house. The foundation and walls provide an essential structure, much like HTML does, for a web page. But it's the paint, the interior design, and the furniture, the elements that bring life and personality to the house, that are akin to CSS. Just as these decorative choices transform a basic structure into a welcoming home, CSS enhances HTML, turning a simple web page into an engaging and visually appealing experience. Just as accessories and style make an outfit stand out, CSS adds the visual appeal to the structure provided by HTML. In web development, HTML provides the structure, while CSS, cascading style sheets, adds the style, defining how web pages look and feel. Whether you're new to web development or just brushing up on your skills, this lesson will guide you through the essentials of styling HTML elements. In this video, we will explain how HTML interacts with CSS to define the presentation and layout of web pages. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets and is used to style HTML elements. It allows developers to change colors, fonts, layouts, and more. By applying CSS, you can transform a plain HTML document into a visually appealing web page. Let's examine some of the things that CSS can do for a website. Now, let's review a simple CSS example that styles a web page. First, we have the body selector. This selector targets the entire body of the web page. Within the curly braces, we define a rule: background -color, #, number FOFOFO. This sets the background color of the page to a light gray, using the hexadecimal color code #FOFOFO. Next, we move on to the H1 selector. This targets any heading level 1 on the page. The rule inside the braces is color: number 333, which sets the text color of the heading to a dark gray using the color code #333. In this example, the body of the web page is styled with a light background and the heading has a contrasting dark text color, which helps to create a clean and readable design. Let's examine another CSS example, this time with styling paragraph text. Here we're using the P selector to target all paragraph elements, P, on the page. Inside the curly braces, we define a few properties to style the text. First, we set the font family to Arial, sans serif. This means that the paragraph text will use the Arial font if it's available. If Arial is not available, the browser will fall back to any generic sans serif font. Next, we set the font size to 16 pixels, ensuring that the text will appear at a reasonable size of 16 pixels. Finally, we apply font weight bold, which makes the paragraph text appear bold, giving it more emphasis. This simple CSS rule helps to control the appearance of the text, ensuring it's easy to read and stands out with bold styling. Here's another example of using Flexbox to lay out elements on the page. We will start with .container class selector, which targets any HTML element with a class name of container. Inside the curly braces, we first use display:flex. This activates Flexbox, a powerful layout model that allows items within the container to align and distribute space efficiently. Next, we apply justify content: space between. This property ensures that the items in the container are spaced evenly, with the first item aligned to the left, the last item aligned to the right, and any remaining space distributed between them. This simple Flexbox rule helps create responsive, flexible layouts where items are neatly spaced apart. To apply CSS to an HTML document, we have several methods: external, internal, and inline styles. Let's compare them. External style sheets are the most common method of applying CSS to an HTML document. You create a separate CSS file, link it to your HTML document, and define all your styles in one place. This is like having a universal wardrobe you can use for multiple web pages. You should write the styles in the styles.css file, then link the CSS file in the head section of the HTML document. We use the link tag, which is placed inside the head section of the HTML. The rel equals style sheet attribute tells the browser that this is a style sheet, meaning that it contains CSS that will style the web page. The href equals styles.css attribute specifies the location of the CSS file. This technique allows us to keep the styling separate from the HTML structure, making it easier to manage and maintain the design of the web page. These CSS styles are added directly within the style tag in the head section of your HTML file. This method is useful when you want to apply specific styles to a single page. Internal CSS files are useful for single-page websites or for overriding external styles. Let's review this example. The style tag is placed within the head section of the HTML file and allows us to write CSS rules directly on the page. In this example, we're targeting the H1 element, which means that any H1 heading on the page will be affected. Inside the curly braces, we define a rule: color, blue, semicolon. This changes the text colon of the H1 heading to blue. Using the style tag is useful for adding quick styles directly into the HTML file, but for larger projects, it's best to keep the CSS file in a separate style sheet. This method involves adding CSS styles directly to an HTML element using the style attribute. Now, let's explore how to add inline CSS directly to an HTML element. In this example, we have an H1 tag that displays the text, "Hello World." We're using the style attribute within the opening H1 tag to apply CSS directly to this element. The rule color, red, semicolon changes the text color to red. Inline CSS is useful for applying quick, specific styles to individual elements. However, it's generally better to use an external or internal style sheet for larger, more maintainable projects. As you've discovered, each method of applying CSS to HTML has its pros and cons, but for larger projects, external style sheets offer the most flexibility and ease of maintenance. Now, let's examine the CSS box model, which is crucial for mastering web layout design. It describes how HTML elements are structured in terms of space. The CSS box model is a fundamental concept that describes how elements are structured and spaced on a web page. It consists of 4 parts: content, padding, border, and margin. The content area is where the text and images appear. Padding is the space between the content and the border. It creates an internal buffer around the content. The border surrounds the padding, if any, and content. It can be styled with different colors, widths, and styles. Margin is the space outside the border, separating the element from the other elements. Let's apply a simple CSS rule that styles a box element on the page. We'll start with the .box class selector, which targets any element that has a class name of box. Inside the curly braces, we first set the width to 200 pixels, which defines the fixed width of the box as 200 pixels. Next, we use the padding property to add 10 pixels of space inside the box, creating space between the content and the border. The border property is set to 2 pixels solid #333, which means that the box will have a solid border that's 2 pixels thick and a dark gray color defined by the hexadecimal code #333. Lastly, we apply margin: 20 pixels, semicolon. This creates 20 pixels of space outside the box, separating it from other elements on the page. This combination of properties helps define the size, spacing, and border style of the box. Let's examine how StyleWave, a digital marketing company, can use CSS to improve their homepage. The HTML structure includes headings, paragraphs, and images. CSS is used to style these elements, changing colors, fonts, and layouts. An external style sheet ensures consistency across the site, while internal and inline styles make specific adjustments. The box model helps organize content, padding, borders, and margins to create a clean, well-spaced layout. This combination of HTML and CSS creates a visually appealing and user-friendly website. Understanding how HTML interacts with CSS is essential for defining the presentation and layout of web pages. In this video, we explored the basics of CSS styling, the methods of linking CSS to HTML, and the importance of the CSS box model. Now that you understand how HTML and CSS interact to create visually appealing web pages, try styling a simple HTML document using the techniques we've covered. Experiment with different colors, fonts, and layouts to discover how CSS can transform your design. Have you ever visited a website that just felt alive, responding to your every click and action? That's the magic of JavaScript. Imagine a static display window in a store. It looks good, but doesn't do anything when you interact with it. This is similar to how an HTML page feels without JavaScript. Just as adding movement and sound can transform that display window into something engaging, JavaScript brings static HTML pages to life, making the web come alive with functionality and interactivity. In this video, we will explain how HTML interacts with JavaScript to add functionality and interactivity to web pages. JavaScript can be integrated with HTML in two main ways. First, by embedding it directly within the HTML file, and second, by linking to an external JavaScript file. Each method has its benefits and serves different needs. First, let's explore how embedding JavaScript directly within HTML works, followed by the advantages of using external JavaScript files. To embed the JavaScript directly within HTML, use the script tag. Here, the JavaScript code inside the script tag writes JavaScript is working directly onto the web page. In this example, external JavaScript is written in a separate .js file and linked to the HTML document using the script tag. We include the script tag, which is used to load external JavaScript files. The source attribute points to script.js, allowing us to link a JavaScript file that will execute when the page loads. By including the script at the bottom of the body section, we ensure that HTML content is fully loaded before the JavaScript runs, which helps improve performance and prevents errors. This is a basic but essential technique for integrating JavaScript into a web page. Using external JavaScript is great when you want to reuse scripts across pages. Plus, keeping your JavaScript in a separate file helps keep your HTML clean and organized. Think of the DOM, or Document Object Model, as a blueprint for your web page. It lets JavaScript change things on the page whenever a user does something, like clicking a button. This structure allows JavaScript to interact with and modify HTML elements whenever a user interacts with the page. Now, let's see how JavaScript can use the DOM to change the content of these elements in real time. JavaScript allows you to modify various aspects of HTML elements, including content, styles, and attributes. First, let's look at how you can change the text of an HTML element by using the getElementById method. Then we'll explore how to modify other attributes and styles to customize the element further. To change the text in an HTML element, you can use a method called getElementById. In this example, JavaScript selects the H1 element by its ID and changes its text content from Hello World to Hello JavaScript. JavaScript can also be used to modify existing HTML elements, including content, attributes, and styles. To change the style of an HTML element, you can use the inner text or inner HTML properties. In this example, JavaScript changes the visible text of the paragraph from original text to modified text. Now, let's explore how JavaScript can respond to user actions, such as clicks and key presses, to make your web pages interactive and engaging through event handling. In web development, events are actions like clicks, key presses, or mouse movements that happen within the browser. Event handling in JavaScript means you can run specific code when something happens on your web page, like when a user clicks a button or presses a key. This makes your website more interactive. Next, let's explore how to set up event listeners to handle these actions effectively. JavaScript provides a way to listen for these events and then perform actions using event listeners. An event listener is a function that waits for a specific event to occur on an element and then executes a block of code when the event happens. Now, let's go step by step through the process of adding event listeners to HTML elements. First, we'll use the addEventListener method to set up the listener. Then, we'll create a function that runs when the event occurs. Here's a basic example showing how to add a click event listener to a button. When the button with ID equals click button is clicked, an alert box with the message button was clicked appears. Now, let's look at some practical examples of event handling in JavaScript. Event handlers define what happens when an event occurs. Here's an example of an event handler that results in displaying a message when a specific key is pressed. When the A key is pressed, a message is displayed in the paragraph with ID equals message. Users will see, you pressed the A key. Let's examine how Interact Pro, a smart home services company, can improve its website by using JavaScript with HTML. JavaScript adds both functionality and interactivity to web pages. Inline scripts manage simple tasks like displaying alert messages. Internal scripts handle more complex tasks, such as updating content dynamically. External scripts are ideal for reusable functions across multiple pages. The DOM is used to modify events in response to user actions, while event handling triggers these changes when users interact with the page. This combination creates a dynamic and engaging user experience. Understanding how HTML interacts with JavaScript is essential for adding functionality and interactivity to web pages. In this video, we explored basic JavaScript integration, DOM manipulation, and event handling. By mastering these concepts, you can create dynamic and responsive pages that effectively engage users. Happy coding! Building a website, every decision you make affects how easily users can navigate and understand your content. But it's not just about what users see, It's about how your code communicates with search engines and accessibility tools. Semantic HTML helps bridge that gap by giving meaning to your content, improving both usability and structure. In this video, we will define semantic HTML and its role in web development. Semantic HTML refers to the use of HTML tags that give meaning to the content they enclose. These tags make it easier for users and technologies to understand the structure and purpose of the web page. Unlike non-semantic HTML tags, which are used mainly for formatting, semantic tags provide information about the type of content they contain. This helps both developers and browsers understand the structure and purpose of the content, improving accessibility and SEO. Semantic tags like header, article, and footer give specific meaning to different parts of a web page. The header tag defines the introductory section of a web page or a specific section within a page. What makes this tag semantic is that it describes the purpose of the content inside it, telling both users and technologies that this is the header section. The article tag is used to define a self-contained piece of content that could stand alone, such as a blog post, news article, or forum entry. This tag is semantic because it explicitly tells browsers and search engines that the content is a complete, independent piece of information. The footer tag represents the footer section of a web page or section, which typically contains copyright information, links, or author details. It is a semantic tag because it communicates the role of the content as a footer section, allowing technologies to recognize that it is supplemental information. Now let's talk about why semantic HTML is important for web development. Semantic HTML plays a crucial role in enhancing readability, maintainability, and the overall structure of web pages. Semantic HTML makes your code more readable for anyone who reviews it, whether it's another developer, a search engine, or assistive technologies like screen readers. The clear structure provided by semantic tags helps everyone understand the content more easily. In addition, with semantic HTML, your code becomes more organized and easier to maintain. Instead of trying to remember what a div or span does, you can rely on meaningful tags that describe their content. This makes updating your site easier over time. Semantic HTML also has a significant impact on search engine optimization, SEO. By using meaningful tags, you help search engines better understand and index your content, improving your website's visibility and ranking. Finally, by using semantic HTML, you help search engines understand the structure of your web page, making it easier for them to index your content and rank it higher in the search results. This improves your website's SEO, or search engine optimization, making it more likely that users will find your page. Semantic HTML improves both the usability and the visibility of your website. By using semantic tags, you enhance readability, SEO, and accessibility, ensuring your content is well understood by both users and browser technology. Imagine a store where the aisles not only help you find products easily, but also ensure that everyone, including those with visual impairments, can navigate seamlessly. Similarly, semantic HTML ensures that web pages are not only well organized, but also accessible to all users and easily indexed by search engines. In this video, we will explain how semantic HTML improves accessibility for users and search engines. Semantic HTML uses HTML tags that provide meaning to the content they enclose, making it easier for users and technologies to understand the structure and purpose of the web page. One of the key benefits of using semantic HTML is improved accessibility. Screen readers and other assistive technologies rely on the structure of a web page to provide a better experience for users with disabilities. Let's take a look at some of the ways in which these features improve accessibility. Semantic HTML tags help screen readers interpret and navigate web content effectively. For example, the nav tag indicates navigation links, allowing screen readers to quickly inform users about the available navigation options. Tags like header, main, and footer provide a clear structure, helping assistive technologies understand the layout of a page. For instance, a screen reader can use the header tag to identify the beginning of a page's header section. Semantic tags improve keyboard navigation by allowing users to jump straight to the important content without having to listen through all the navigation links first. For example, the aside tag can be used to identify complementary content, making it easier for users to skip or focus on these sections using keyboard shortcuts. Semantic tags also help with search engine optimization, SEO. Search engine optimization, SEO, is the process of improving the visibility and ranking of a website or a web page in search engine result pages, or SERPs, SERPs. The goal of SEO is to increase organic, non-paid traffic to a website by ensuring that it appears higher in search results for relevant queries. Now, let's talk about some of the advantages to SEO when semantic HTML is used. Search engines use semantic tags to better understand and index web content. For example, the article tag signals that the enclosed content is a self-contained piece of information which search engines can index more accurately. Semantic HTML helps search engines determine the importance and context of content, which can improve ranking. For instance, using the section tag to define different sections of content helps search engines understand the structure and relevance of each part. Semantic HTML can improve the appearance of search engine results by providing more meaningful snippets. For instance, using header and footer tags can help search engines generate rich snippets that provide users with more context about the content. Let's take a look at some commonly used semantic HTML tags and how to use them. This tag is used for defining a block of navigation links. It tells assistive technologies and search engines that the enclosed content is related to navigating the website. The next tag is used for content that is tangentially related to the main content. For example, sidebars that contain ads or links to related articles can be wrapped in an aside tag. This tag is used to group related content into sections. It is great for breaking up a page into logical parts, like different topics with an article. The header tag is used for the introductory content at the top of a page or section. The final tag, the footer tag, is used for the content at the bottom, such as contact information or copyright notices. Suppose that Tectonic Solutions decides to revamp its website using semantic HTML. What are some of the improvements they might expect to see? By replacing generic tags with semantic ones such as nav, aside, and section, they enhance the site's accessibility and SEO. For instance, the nav tag for the navigation bar has helped screen readers provide better guidance to visually impaired users, while section tags improve the indexing and ranking of their content by search engines. Semantic HTML significantly improves both accessibility and SEO by providing clear, meaningful tags that enhance the structure and readability of web pages. By using semantic tags like nav, aside, and section, you can create more user-friendly and search engine-friendly optimized websites. Imagine entering a room where everything is thrown about with no order. Finding anything would be a nightmare. Now picture that same room, but organized meticulously with everything in its place and easy to find. That is what semantic HTML does for your web pages, turning a chaotic page into a well-structured one. Semantic HTML organizes your content and enhances accessibility, SEO, and users' experience by creating a well-structured and meaningful hierarchy for your web pages. In this video, we will describe how to effectively implement semantic HTML in a web project. Semantic HTML uses HTML tags to provide meaning to the content they enclose, much like how signposts guide travelers. These tags help users and search engines navigate and understand the structure and purpose of your web page with ease. This is crucial because it makes your web page easier to use and easier to read, and it helps rank better on search engines. Here's how to start structuring your web page using semantic tags. The header tag is used for the introductory content or navigational links. It's typically placed at the top of the page. The nav tag defines a set of navigation links. It's often placed inside the header, but can be used elsewhere depending on your page structure. The footer tag contains information about the page, such as copyright details or contact information, and is placed at the bottom of the page. These tags create a clear and logical structure for the top and bottom sections of the page. Now that we've established a strong foundation with your page's structure, it's time to explore how to effectively organize your content within that framework. The main tag wraps the main content of your page. Think of it as the central hub where your most important information lives, like the body of an article or the main feature on a news site. It excludes headers, footers, and navigation, ensuring that the focus remains on the core content your users are there to navigate. The section tag is used to group related content together within the main area. Each section can have its own heading and is a distinct part of the content. The article tag is used for self-contained content that could be independently distributed, like a blog post or a news article. With your main content organized within the main section, let's explore how to further structure this content using headings, which play a crucial role in both user experience and SEO. Use H1 to H6 tags within your header and section elements to define headings and subheadings. This not only provides structure, but also improves accessibility and SEO. The P tag is used to enclose paragraphs of text. Place it inside your article or section tag to clearly separate blocks of text. The image, IMG tag, is used for images, and it should always include an alt attribute to describe the image content for screen readers. The A tag defines hyperlinks and is often placed within the nav or article tags to provide navigation and additional resources. Sticking to best practices is key to making your web pages accessible and easy to maintain. Here are a few best practices to keep in mind. Make sure to pick the right semantic tag for the content you're showing. This not only improves the clarity of your code, but also helps search engines and assistive technologies understand the structure of your page. For instance, if you're displaying a block of text that represents an article, you should use the article tag instead of a generic div. Using these tags too much can clutter your HTML and make it harder to understand. Instead, opt for semantic tags that describe the content they contain. Write your HTML in a way that is easy to follow, with proper indentation and comments if necessary. This makes your code easier to maintain and debug. For example, instead of using multiple nested div elements to structure your page, use semantic tags like header, nav, main, and footer to keep your code clean and organized. Use semantic tags for structure and non-semantic tags for styling and grouping when necessary. For instance, a div tag could be used with a class for styling purposes, e.g. applying a background color, but the main structure should be created with semantic tags like article, header, and section. This maintains clarity while allowing flexibility for styling. Use CSS with semantic HTML to ensure your content is well designed while keeping it meaningful. For example, you should use HTML tags like article, header, and section to define the structure while CSS is used to style the content, making it visually appealing without altering the semantic structure. This ensures both readability and a polished appearance. Let's bring everything we've discussed into focus with a simple case study. Imagine you're creating a blog page that features an article with a heading, a section for related articles, and a sidebar with additional links. How can you use semantic HTML code to create a well-structured web page? Here's an example of how you can create a well-structured web page. Semantic tags clearly define each section. In the first section, we have a header that contains the main heading of the blog, and inside the main tag, there's an article with a subheading and a paragraph discussing semantic HTML. Here, we have an aside section that contains a list of related articles. This is useful for navigation or additional resources. In the last part, we have another aside for quick navigation links to the home, about, and contact pages, as well as a footer with copyright information. By breaking the code into multiple screens, the audience can focus on one part of the structure at a time, making it easier to understand. The result is an organized and accessible web page that is optimized for SEO and flexible to adapt to future changes and additions. At the top of the page is the header section, featuring the main title of the blog, My Blog, displayed prominently in large font. Below the header, the main content area begins with an article titled Understanding Semantic HTML, followed by a brief introduction discussing the importance of semantic HTML for creating accessible and well-structured web pages. There is an aside section called Related Articles, providing links to 2 additional resources, Why Semantic HTML Matters, and Best Practices in Web Development. Another aside section titled Quick Links helps users navigate the site with links to home, about, and contact. Finally, at the bottom of the page, the footer section displays a simple copyright message, Copyright 2024, My Blog. This layout exemplifies a clean, well-organized structure utilizing semantic HTML tags like header, main, aside, and footer to ensure both accessibility and clarity. Effectively implementing semantic HTML in a web project involves structuring the page with a clear hierarchy following best practices for tag usage and ensuring that the content is both semantically correct and visually appealing. By adopting these techniques, you can create web pages that are accessible, maintainable, and optimized for search engines. Have you ever wondered how some websites look so professional and well organized? It all starts with a solid HTML structure. In this video, we will guide you in creating a well-structured HTML document from scratch. EcoEssence, a company that creates eco-friendly skincare products, has asked us to create the foundation for their webpage, featuring their logo and an introductory video. We'll walk through the process step by step. Let's start by creating the HTML structure. Think of building your HTML document as laying the foundation for a house. Each tag, from doc type HTML to body, plays a crucial role in ensuring your structure is solid and functional. Let's break down these essential elements one by one. Let's start by reviewing what each of these tags do. Every HTML document starts with the doc type HTML declaration. This tells the browser that the document is written in HTML5, ensuring the page is displayed correctly. Next, we open the HTML tag. This tag wraps around all the content on your page, telling the browser that everything inside is part of the HTML document. Inside the HTML tag, we begin with the head section. The head contains the information about the page that isn't visible to users, but is essential for the browser and search engines. The first element we add in the head section is the title tag. This sets the page title, which appears in the Browser tab. We'll set it to EcoEssence for this page. We add a meta-charset equals UTF-8 tag next. This tag ensures that the text on EcoEssence's page displays correctly across different languages and regions. Next, we include a meta tag, which is a description of the page. This helps search engines understand the purpose of the web page. For EcoEssence, we describe the company as offering natural, eco-friendly skincare products. Finally, in the head section, we link to an external style sheet using the link tag. This style sheet controls the appearance of the page, such as fonts and colors, to match the EcoEssence brand. Now that we've completed the head section, we can move on to creating visible content of the web page. We start with the body section. This is where all visible content for EcoEssence's webpage will go, such as text, images, and videos. Below the heading, we'll add a paragraph using the P tag. This paragraph introduces EcoEssence and emphasizes their eco-friendly mission. Let's add the EcoEssence logo next using the image tag. The Alt attribute provides a description of the image, ensuring accessibility for users who can't see the image. Finally, we'll add a video using the video tag to showcase EcoEssence's story. The controls attribute allows users to play or pause the video, and we add a fallback message for browsers that don't support the video. We now close the body and HTML tags to finish the basic structure of EcoEssence's web page. This structure sets the foundation for a clean and organized web page that can be built upon with more content and style. With these steps, we've created a solid foundation for EcoEssence's web page, which will give visitors an introductory video tour of EcoEssence and its products. By following these steps, we've laid the groundwork for a professional and well-structured web page for EcoEssence. This basic HTML structure not only organizes the content, but also ensures that the page is accessible, functional, and ready for further enhancements. With the foundation in place, you can now build upon it to create a polished, user-friendly website that effectively represents EcoEssence's eco-friendly mission.
Imagine you're building a website from scratch. What tools would you need to make it interactive, organized, and user-friendly? Forms, tables, and lists are the backbone of any well-structured website. They're not just random elements. They're the tools that allow you to gather information, present data clearly, and organize content in a way that's easy for users to navigate. In this video, we will explain how to create and implement forms, tables, and lists in an HTML document. Forms are the backbone of any interactive website. Whether you're signing up for a newsletter, placing an order, or leaving a comment, you're interacting with a form. In HTML, forms are created using the form tag, which serves as the container for all the elements that collect user input, and labels to help identify and describe the text fields. Let's explore how to create a form in your HTML document. The area between the opening form tag and the closing form tag acts as a container holding all the elements that will make up the form, like input fields, labels, and buttons. Think of it as a frame that organizes and manages how the form behaves when you interact with it. Well, you don't see anything on the web page just yet. These tags lay the foundation for building a form. With the form fields in place, we can add elements for users to enter data into the form. For this purpose, we'll use the input element. In this example, we have one input field with a text type. It will show the text enter your name in the field before the user fills anything in. We can add other fields to get more user information if we need it. Now that we've set up the form structure, let's add a way for users to submit the form. This is done by including a button element. Here we've added a button type equals submit with submit between the opening and closing tags. This button is what users will click when they're ready to send their information. The type equals submit ensures that when the user clicks the button, the form is submitted. The button triggers a function in JavaScript which can send the form data to a database or save it to a file. Without this button, the form wouldn't be functional. Now that we've covered forms and how they allow users to interact with your website, let's shift our focus to tables. Tables are essential for displaying structured data clearly, making it easier for users to compare and analyze information at a glance. Think of a table as a grid where data is organized into rows and columns, much like a spreadsheet. This format is ideal for displaying information that needs to be compared side by side, such as product features, pricing, or schedules. Let's start by exploring how to create a table in HTML. First, we use the table tag to create the table structure. Next, we'll define the headers for our table. Headers describe what each column represents. To do this, we'll use the TH tag, which stands for table header. We're using 3 TH tags for the headers: product, price, and quantity. Now that we've created our table headers, let's add the actual data. We'll start by adding TR elements, which stand for table rows, and then within the TR elements, we'll use TD tags to actually add our data. We'll start by adding 3 TD tags for apples, $2, and 10. We can easily add more rows to our table using additional TR tags. Each new TR tag creates a new row, and inside that row we'll place more TD tags to fill the cells with data. In this example, we have added a new row with data for bananas, $1.50, and 20. End the table with the closing tag /tr, and then /table. And there you have it. We built a complete table with headers and rows of data using the table TR, TH, and TD tags. You can structure and display data in a clear and organized way. Next, let's explore organizing data using lists. Lists are ideal for displaying items in a specific order, like steps in a process, or for grouping items without any particular sequence, such as a collection of features. HTML provides 2 types of lists: unordered and ordered. An ordered list is also known as a numbered list. This is perfect when you need to present steps or items in a specific sequence. Think of a recipe where each step needs to be followed in order. On the other hand, an unordered list is also known as a bullet list, and it's great for when the order doesn't matter, like listing ingredients for that same recipe. Here's an example of an ordered list. Start with the ordered list tag, and then add the following list items wrapped by the list item tag. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees, mix the ingredients, pour the batter in a pan, bake for 30 minutes. It will display a recipe which lists a numbered series of steps in the proper order to cook something. Now here's an example of an unordered list. Starting with the unordered list tag UL, we've added flour, sugar, eggs, and butter as list items, wrapping them in the list item tag. This results in a bulleted list of ingredients needed for the recipe that could appear in any order. To create a nested list, start by creating your main list using either OL for ordered lists or UL for unordered lists. Then nest additional lists inside your main list items to create sublists. In this example, the fruits list has its own sublist, which groups related items together. Creating and implementing forms, tables, and lists in an HTML document involves using specific tags to structure and organize content. By understanding how to use these elements effectively, you can enhance the functionality and usability of your web projects.
Have you ever visited a website where the images and videos took forever to load, or worse, didn't load at all? In this video, we'll show you how to avoid these pitfalls by properly embedding media elements in your HTML documents. In this video, we will describe how to embed and manipulate media elements within an HTML document. First, let's look at how to embed an image. Images are a key component of any web page, and embedding them is straightforward using the IMG tag. The 2 most important attributes you use are SRC and ALT. The SRC attribute is where you tell the browser where to find your image. This can be a relative path to an image in your project folder or an absolute URL to an image hosted online. The ALT attribute is just as crucial. It provides alternative text for screen readers, ensuring that your content is accessible to users with visual impairments. It's also useful when the image fails to load, as the alt text will be displayed instead. Let's explore how to add an image to an HTML page using the IMG tag. The IMG tag doesn't need a closing tag and is used to embed images into a web page. We start with the SRC attribute, which stands for source. This points to the location of the image file. In our example, the image source is set to path_to_your_image.jpg, which would be replaced by the actual file path to your image. Next, we have the alt attribute, short for alternative text. This provides a description of the image for users who can't see it, like those using screen readers or when the image fails to load. In this case, the alternative text reads description of the image, which should be replaced with a meaningful description of the image. Together, the SRC and alt attributes make the image accessible and functional for a wide range of users. Now that we've covered images, let's move on to another essential media element, videos. Videos can greatly enhance user engagement when embedded properly. The video tag is used to display video files on a web page. In this example, we start with the SRC attribute, which stands for source. This points to the location of the video file. Here it's set to path to your video.mp4, which would be replaced with the actual file path to your video. We also add the controls attribute. This enables playback controls like play, pause, volume adjustment, and full screen options, giving users the ability to control how they watch the video. The video tag is self-contained, meaning we can include everything we need within the tag itself to display and control video content. It's a good practice to provide multiple formats of your video using source elements within the video tag. This ensures compatibility across different browsers. Here's an example. We start with the opening video tag and include the controls attribute, which adds built-in controls like play, pause, and volume adjustment, allowing users to control their viewing experience. Inside the video tag, we use two source elements to provide different video formats. The first source has src equals video.mp4 attribute, which points to the MP4 version of the video. We also specify video/mp4 to tell the browser what format this file is in. Next, we add another source element with src equals video.webm, pointing to the WebM format of the video, and type video/webm to define the format. By including multiple formats, we ensure compatibility across different browsers. If one format isn't supported, the browser will try the next one. Finally, we add the fallback text. Your browser does not support the video tag. This message will appear if the browser doesn't support the video element at all, ensuring a graceful fallback for users. Now, let's explore how to embed an audio file into a web page using the audio tag. We start with the opening audio tag, which includes the controls attribute. This adds built-in controls such as play, pause, volume adjustment, allowing users to interact with the audio. Inside the audio tag, we use two source elements to provide different audio formats. The first is src equals audio.mp3, which points to the MP3 version of the file, and the type equals audio/mpeg specifies that this is an MP3 format. Next, we include another source with source equals audio.ogg, pointing to the OGG format, and type equals audio/ogg to define it as an OGG file. By providing multiple formats, we ensure that audio can be played across different browsers. If one format isn't supported, the browser will automatically try the next. Finally, we add the fallback text, your browser does not support the audio tag. This text will appear if the browser doesn't support the audio element, ensuring the user is aware of the issue. When embedding media, it is important to follow best practices to ensure your content is accessible, responsive, and efficient. First, consider the file formats you use. For images, use formats like JPEG or PNG for standard images and SVG for scalable graphics. For videos, MP4 is widely supported, but providing additional formats like WebM can improve compatibility. Always use compressed and optimized files to improve page load times. It is important to remember that accessibility is another crucial factor. Ensure all images have meaningful alt text and provide transcripts or captions for audio and video content where possible. Lastly, design your media elements to be responsive. Use CSS to ensure that images and videos scale appropriately for different screen sizes, providing a seamless experience on mobile, tablet, and desktop devices. Embedding and manipulating media elements in an HTML document involves using specific tags to add images, videos, and audio content. By following best practices for file formats, accessibility, and responsive design, you can enhance the user experience and make your web content more interactive and engaging. Before we start adding content to an HTML document, we need to set up the basic structure. HTML documents have a very specific format that helps browsers understand how to display the content. Let's put together an HTML document in 6 parts, step by step. First, we need to add the declaration that specifies the HTML document type at the top of the file. Now, on line 4, add the attribute to set the character encoding for the document. Next, on line 5, add the title tag to define the title that will appear in the browser tag. Finally, on line 7, add the tag that wraps the visible content of the web page. Now that we have our most basic skeleton, let's start adding content to the body of the document. One of the most common tasks in HTML is adding text content. Let's add headings, paragraphs, and some basic elements to the body of our HTML document. On line 1, add the opening tag for the main heading. On line 2, add the opening tag for the subheading. On line 3, add the closing tag for the first paragraph. On line 5, add the opening tag for the first paragraph. On line 7, add the closing tag for the third heading. Now, click the button in the upper right corner to see how the code renders. Let's add lists. Lists are a great way to organize information, and HTML gives us 2 types of lists, unordered lists and ordered lists. Unordered lists use bullet points, while ordered lists use numbers. Inside these lists, each item is defined with the LI tag, which stands for list item. Add the opening tag for the first list item in the unordered list. Add the closing tag for the second list item in the unordered list. Add the opening tag for the third item in the unordered list. Now, add the opening tag for the first list item in the ordered list. Add the opening tag for the second list item in the ordered list. Add the opening tag for the third list item in the ordered list. Click on the button in the upper right corner to see how the code renders. Let's add a table. Tables in HTML are used to present data in a structured format. A table is defined by the table tag, and within it, rows are created using the TR tag. For headers, use the TH tag, and for regular data cells, use the TD tag. To make your tables more organized, you can divide them into sections using the T-head tag, the T-body tag, and the T-foot tag. Always remember to use the scope attribute on headers for accessibility. Add the table caption using the appropriate HTML tag. Add the table headers with scope to improve accessibility. Add the table data cells for the first row. Add the table data cells for the second row. Now add the footer cell with TD call span equals 3 to span all columns. Click on the button in the upper right corner to see how the code renders. You should now see a web page that includes properly formatted headings, paragraphs of text, a horizontal rule, and a line break. Each section is organized and easy to read. Let's add a form. Forms are the primary way websites collect information from users. Whether it's signing up for a newsletter or submitting a feedback form, forms play an important role in web interactions. In HTML, forms are created with the form tag, and they contain input fields like text boxes, radio buttons, check boxes, and submit buttons. It's also essential to use the label tag to associate a label with each input field for accessibility, helping screen readers interpret the form. Let's create a basic form that includes text input fields, radio buttons, and checkboxes. First, define the for attribute for the name label. Define the input type for the name field. Now, set the ID attribute for the name input field. And set the name attribute for the name input field. Now we need to define the for attribute for the email label. Define the input type for the email field. Define the ID attribute for the email input field. And set the name attribute for the email input field. Now we need to define the input type for a subscription radio button. Set the name attribute for the first subscription plan input. Define the input type for the newsletter checkbox. Set the name attribute for the second subscription plan. Now we set the input type for the newsletter checkbox. And define the input type for the submit button. We've created a functioning form that allows users to enter their name and email, select a subscription plan, and opt into a newsletter. This form will also have a submit button that can send the data when clicked. Click on the button in the upper right corner to see how the code renders. Now, let's embed some media. In modern web, multimedia elements like images, videos, and audio files are everywhere. HTML provides special tags for embedding these media types. The IMG tag is used to display images, and it's important to include the alt attribute to describe the image for accessibility. To embed videos, we use the video tag with controls for playback functionality. For audio files, we use the audio tag, also with controls to allow user interaction. First, let's insert the tag to define a source of an image. Now, add the source attribute to specify the source of the image. Add the alt attribute to describe the image for accessibility. Add the controls attribute to the video tag to enable playback controls. Add the source attribute to specify the source of the video file. Add the type attribute to specify the video format. Now add the source attribute to specify the source of the audio file. Add the type attribute to specify the audio format. Now we click the button at the top right to run the code and see how it renders. As you can see, you've got an image, you've got a video, and you've got an audio. Great job on completing this guided lab. Have you ever wondered why some web pages look so clean and easy to use while others feel disorganized? The secret lies in how the HTML is structured. Today, we're going to see how we can create a clean, well-structured web page for GroovyCo, a company that focuses on eco-friendly products and sustainable living. We'll take it step by step and set up the basic structure for their web page. In this video, we will explain how to set up the basic structure of an HTML document for a web page. GroovyCo has asked us to create a web page that reflects their mission. So let's get started by building the structure of the page. This is like laying the foundation for a house before adding the walls and furniture. The first step is to declare doctype HTML at the top of the document. This tells the browser that we're using HTML5, the most current version of HTML, so everything runs smoothly. Next, we start with the HTML tag. This is the root element that will contain all the code for our web page. Inside the HTML tag, we begin with the head section. This part doesn't contain visible content, but holds important information about the page. Inside the head section, we add a title tag. This sets the title for the page, which appears in the browser tab. For GroovyCo's web page, the title will be GroovyCo. Next, we include a meta_char_set equals UTF-8 tag to set the character encoding. This ensures that all text on our web page displays correctly. We also add a meta tag with a description of the page. This description helps search engines understand what GroovyCo is about, which improves the page's visibility. Finally, we add a link tag to the head section to link it to an external style sheet. This style sheet will control the visual design of our page, such as the colors and fonts. Now we close the head section to finish setting up the background information. The next step is to add the content that users will see. We're now ready to start the body section, where all the visible content of the web page will go. The first thing we'll add to the body section is a welcoming message to the user. We use the h1 tag to create the main heading, Welcome to GroovyCo. Next, we add a paragraph under the heading using a p tag. This tag will introduce GroovyCo and highlight its commitment to sustainability. Now, we'll add an image of the GroovyCo logo using the IMG tag. We also include the alt attribute, which provides alternative text in case the image doesn't load. Finally, we add a video using the video tag, which will allow users to learn more about GroovyCo's mission. The controls attribute provides playback controls, and we add a fallback message for browsers that don't support the video element. We now close the body and HTML tags to complete our basic HTML structure. With this, we've built a solid and well-organized foundation for GroovyCo's web page. Today, you've covered how to set up the basic structure of an HTML document. We discussed the essential tags and how to organize content within this document. By following these steps, you'll ensure your web pages have a solid foundation for further development.
Have you ever wondered how websites make text easy to read and navigate? Whether it's a blog post, an online shop, or a news site, the way text is structured in HTML plays a crucial role. When building a web page, organizing and presenting text effectively isn't just important, it's essential. In this video, we will describe how to add and structure text, lists, and links within an HTML document. Let's start with headings. Think of them as the titles and subtitles of a book, organizing your content in a clear hierarchy. For example, you might use an H1 tag for the main title of your page, and H2 or H3 tags for section titles or subtitles. Here's how it looks in code. These tags not only affect the size and weight of the text, but also help search engines and screen readers understand the structure of your content. Next, you can use paragraph tags to group large sections of text. The P tag is a simple way to group text content together, but provide a readable format that's simpler to navigate. This example will display the text, "This is a paragraph text," as a block with spacing before and after, making it easier to read. Now let's investigate list elements as a way to organize text on a page. Lists are essential for organizing information in a clear and structured way, whether you're outlining steps or grouping related items. In HTML, you can create two types of lists. You can make an ordered list, also known as a numbered list, using the OL tag. You create an unordered list or bullet list using the UL tag. Items can be added to these lists using the list item tag or LI. Let's examine an ordered list first. The OL tag numbers each item in sequence like a recipe where steps need to be followed in order. Here's an example of an ordered list where each item is numbered sequentially. List items are enclosed in the list item tag. Ordered lists are useful for explaining processes that must be performed in a certain order, ranking items in terms of priority or importance. Now let's discuss the unordered list. These are created with the UL tag, which gives each item a bullet point. It's perfect for when the order doesn't matter, like a simple checklist. Just as in ordered lists, list items are added using the list item tag, or LI, closing each with a /L. Finally, let's investigate links. Links are crucial in guiding users through your website, connecting different pages or sections seamlessly. To create a link, use the A tag, which stands for anchor. It's like creating a bridge to another page or section. Here's how you can create a basic link to an external website. The href attribute specifies the URL you want to link to, and the text between the opening and closing A tags is what the user clicks on. You can also create internal links which navigate to different sections of the same page by using the href attribute with a pound symbol followed by the ID of the target element. For example, this link will take the user directly to the element with the ID section 1 on the current page. In this video, we explored how to organize texts, lists, and links in HTML, and it's key to creating a well-structured and easy to navigate website. By using headings, paragraphs, lists, and links effectively, you ensure that your content is not only visually appealing, but also accessible to users and search engines. Mastering these foundational HTML elements sets you on the path to building clear, engaging, and user-friendly web pages. You've already learned how to create elements like forms, tables, and lists in HTML. But how do all these pieces fit together into a complete web page? In this video, we'll learn to identify the key components of an HTML web page, from structure to content to interactivity. Here's an example of an HTML page. It includes everything you've learned so far, including text content, media, lists, tables, and a form. Let's go through and identify each component in action. First, let's examine the page's core structure. The HTML tag wraps everything. Inside it, the head contains metadata and resources, while the body holds everything you experience on the page. Inside the body, we use layout tags like header, main, and footer to organize the content. The nav tag defines a set of links that helps users move around the site. In this example, the links are wrapped in a list to keep them organized. The page includes both an image and a video. These media elements add visual interest and can make your content more engaging. The source attribute tells the element where to find the resource. The resource could be local or a full URL starting with HTTPS to pull in assets from remote locations or a different server. Next, we use lists to organize content. Lists like this are great for grouping related items. Here we're using an unordered list to show popular web page development languages. Forms let users interact with the page. In this example, we're collecting a name and email address, common fields for a contact or sign-up form. The form is wrapped in the form element and includes input elements for each item of data we want to collect. We use label elements to identify each data item and another input element with a type of submit. We can use this element to submit the form data to a database or send it to an API. Tables are ideal for structured information. This table shows 2 projects and their current status. The table element wraps the rows and columns. The TR element defines a table row, and the TH element describes the header elements of the table. Each TD element holds the information we want to show in each cell of the table. Since there are 2 table headers in this table, the table will have 2 columns. Each component we reviewed has a job to do. Together they create a rich, interactive, and accessible web page. Whether it's for displaying information or collecting user input, these HTML elements bring the page to life. Now you've learned how all the pieces, headers, navigation, content, lists, forms, and more come together to build a full HTML page. When you open up a web page from now on, you'll be able to identify exactly what you're experiencing and how it all fits together.
The first step in creating a web page is setting up the basic structure. Think of this as building the foundation of a house before adding the furniture. Let's create the structure now. Add the declaration at the top of the document. Now we need to add the character set attribute to the meta tag. Now we need to add the title element to define the title of the web page. Let's put in the title of the web page. And then we need to close the title tag. Now we need to add the body tag to contain the page's content and close out the body tag. Now let's select the button at the top to run our code and see how it renders. As you can see, we've got the title of the web page and then the body content. Next, let's add some text and lists to our web page. Add the opening tag for a level 2 heading element in line 2, and then we close that tag. Now we're going to add the opening tag for a paragraph element and close that paragraph element. Now we're going to add the opening tag for an unordered list and then add opening tags for a list item and the closing tag for a list item. And we're going to do that with the next 2 list items as well. And then add the closing tag for the unordered list. Next, we're going to create an ordered list by adding the tag for ordered list. And then put the tags in for each of our list items. And then add the closing tag for the ordered list element. And we're going to add the opening tag for a paragraph at the end. And then we're going to add the opening tag for a hyperlink. And then add the closing tag for the hyperlink. And let's check our code by clicking the button in the top right corner. As you can see here, we've got the title, we've got a subheading, we've got some body text, we've got 2 lists, and then a link at the bottom for a call to action. Now let's embed some media. First, we should add an attribute to specify the image source. Next, we need to add the attribute to provide alternative text. Now we need to add the attribute to specify the video source, and then add the attribute to specify the audio source. And we can check how our code renders by clicking the button in the top right. And as you can see, we've got an image, a video, and an audio. Great job completing this lab. Mastering HTML is essential for web development. It forms the backbone of all web interactions, enabling developers to create more accessible and efficient websites that rank better on search engines and serve a wider audience. We began by exploring HTML's basic structure and elements, establishing the essential groundwork for your web development journey. Following that, we delved into HTML's role as the foundational framework of the web, seamlessly integrating with CSS and JavaScript to produce dynamic and responsive websites. Next, we explored the significance of using semantic HTML to improve web accessibility and search engine rankings, which can help extend your content's reach to a broader audience. Then, we guided you in creating your initial HTML document using HTML tags and attributes to establish the framework of a web page. Finally, you integrated the concepts from this module to build a comprehensive web page with HTML. We've only just begun our exploration of web development.